Hey guys, this is FunTrade again. Welcome back. So I'm going to talk about the futures, S&P 500 and Nasdaq today, and I'm going to talk about few stocks which might be of interest as well. So let's go ahead and see how S&P 500 futures are doing today, right? So if you remember the last week, we had the support and resistance levels for years and the demand zone as well. So what we can see now is that, okay, let me just take out the volume so we can see the clear chart, right? So okay, sure, yeah, there you go. So last time whatever we saw was very simple thing. uh, we had the ES coming down, and we had the fib levels at 3246 and 3154, and this was our demand zone, as you can see, right? So what actually happened? So we can clearly see that it took out the 127.2 percentile and it started bouncing back. So we had even saw that we had this line as intraday support on the day which we spoke about. It was able to hold these lines and move up, but the thing is, like, the previous support acted as a resistance and it saw a dip back towards the demand zone. So we can clearly see here there was a nice bounce near the demand zone and it's moving back up. So are we in a bull stream, or do you see that it's going to be a very bullish trend? That we cannot say until it breaks 3315.5, which was the previous support, which is acting as a resistance now. So we can clearly see there was a price action at these levels, and again the same thing here as well, right? So you can see there is a rejection which happened, went down, and again here, even today we can see that it is finding it very difficult to break these levels. So until it breaks these levels, I cannot say that it's bullish. So what we can expect today is we can see a break of it because of the stimulus package which was announced, and we can see huge buyers coming back in. And don't forget, we have Apple, uh, which is going to announce their iPad and iMini and iPhones as well. So that will give up a bit of stream to SPX 500, which will take our futures a bit up. So yep, moving back to the daily chart, let's go back and see where we stand as of today, right? So this was the weekly demand which we draw, which we took it as, right? See, a rally based rally which we saw, and this is our weekly demand. And on daily chart we can see that that demand is still good and it's been holding. So we have these levels. So as I told, based on the short time frame, whatever we have, 2 hours, we can see a push towards 3315, break of it, and then we can see a hold of it as well. So if we cannot see a hold, then we can clearly see that it's going back to 3246 before taking up a bull stream again. But as we can see that MACD and even the RSI is trending, which shows that the say S&P 500 futures are in a bull trend. So let's wait for it today, and we will see whether it will be able to break it or it will be break and hold above it. So just keep it in mind. If it is able to break 3315 and hold above it, you can clearly see it's going to be favorable for longs, right? So let's see, where is it, what's happening here. It's the same thing again. You can see very clearly that it touched 3315 and it slapped again. Actually, it's going back. So these are the levels to hold, 3285 levels, but I don't think it will even see 3285 today. Whatever I can think is it will see a dip to 3291, and say, even if it is going to a dip, so that is the one which has to hold, and we will clearly see this level will be taken as a support. So this is very important. So if S&P 500 futures are going to hold these levels and trade above it, we can see a bullish trend and break of 3315. So let's wait for it and let's see what happens, right? Okay, so moving on, Nasdaq. So let's go to the daily chart. erase it by any chance? Yep. So it's the same thing with Nasdaq as well. So you can see these were our fib levels for the downtrend, but as we mentioned, it was holding the intraday support levels. And this is very interesting actually. The Nasdaq is able to take the means say break the resistance levels, which was our previous support levels, and moving towards upside. So if you are trying to go long on any stock, see if you can get some means say stocks which are featured in Nasdaq, and go ahead with it. So it should be able to retest the next resistance level, which is very simple as this, right? So you can see the price has been consolidated, consolidating between these levels. So we can take it as a resistance to break. So let's add it as resistance. So this should be our resistance levels to break for Nasdaq. So if it cannot break, we can just see it down, coming back to 11059 and then taking a bull stand. So but as far as now, it is very clearly in a bull stand, unlike S&P 500, which is not able to break the resistance levels. So this should be, if you are going for a long, see if you can pick some stocks in listed in Nasdaq and get it for longs, right? And we can clearly see the MACD is curling up, and even RSI is trending as well. So this is another reason to see it as a bull trend. So let's go back again and see what's happening here. So in a shorter time frame, we can see RSI is having a nice divergence. So we can see it's been holding these levels and moving back up and down. So if I can go back, so this is the target, this is the resistance which it has to break on the shorter time frame. So this is what we can expect today. So we are going to break these levels and take it as a resistance, support, and we will be reaching our target of 11497. So this is for Nasdaq. So Nasdaq is very clear, and it has already taken a bull stance, so it should be fine if you have to go long on this. Okay, let's check the weekly chart once, just for our reference. Yeah, this looks good actually. So we can see this is the reversal, and the price action is above the close. So and it's moving towards the upside. So that clearly shows that we are taking a bull stance and it's going up. So what we can expect is another green candle which is going to touch the levels whatever we have, and then take a direction. So this is very clear. We don't have any other resistance here. Once it breaks this, it should be good. Yeah. Moving on to Tesla. So we spoke about Tesla before the battery day, right? So we had very clear levels for Tesla. We had the demand zone, rally base rally, and this has the gap levels, which were support levels, which we had. So it did take a dip to the levels whatever we not really to the levels whatever we want, but at least to the intermediate levels, and then this was our support even before the battery day, right? So break of it was very clear indication for us that it's going to be bullish. So it did that, and it started its bullish stance. So is Tesla really bullish? So that I don't think so. What we can expect for Tesla is we have Tesla ER coming up, which is on October 21st, and we do have sales number which is pending from Tesla, right? So Tesla has not released their sales number yet, and they have ER coming up on 21st. So what we can expect, right? So Tesla, we can expect a price action between these two levels. I'm going to say 360, 370 and 430s. So what we can see very clearly is with this within this week, we can see a consolidation and a breakout. So Tesla is not really bullish until it breaks 460 levels, which is our resistance level. So this is where the price action is, right? So you can see very clearly that it has been rejected multiple times at 460 levels, and even MACD is curling down, and it's not really taking any stance. And even RSI has to break 60 levels for it to be very bullish. Let's go to lower time frame, which is 2 hours. What happened to our 2 hours or 4 hours? Okay, let's take 2 hours. 2 hours. Okay, fine. Yep. Let me remove the volume bars so that it's very easy to see the chart. Yeah, so if you go back to the lower time frame, which is 2 hour, we can clearly see that it has been consolidated, means consolidating between these levels, right? So 420 and 370. So these are the levels which we can see the consolidation. So for now, whatever we can expect is it's going to cover this gap and the resistance which is here and move back down, and we can get an entry if it bounces up, right? So this will act as the intermediary support for us. So let me mark it as intermediary support or intraday support. Let's give it a different color so that we can capture it in future. So this is our intraday support. This color is very irritating. Let's move it out and take something else. Okay, so this is our intraday support for Tesla. So what we can see in future or in this week for Tesla is we can see it touching 420 levels or filling up this gap whatever we have here to here, and then this will act as the resistance and fall back to 392 levels. That will be our entry point, or if it manages to break these levels, that will be our entry point. So we can, if it can break, I mean to say the 425 levels or 428 levels, we can see it going and touching 460, which is our resistance again before it takes a stance. So if you are not already in Tesla, then I would say wait for it, wait for the price action confirmation. So see if it can break this resistance level, or if it cannot break the resistance level, we can clearly see it coming back to 392 levels, which is the intraday support, right? So a lot of people might think this is a cup and handle which is going to happen. Even if you think it is a cup and handle, you can see a rejection here to form a candle, right? So that should be your entry point. So I would say wait for it even before you take something long on it. If you want to scalp, yes, you can go ahead and scalp between these levels, in the sense like 400 to 420 levels should be your scalp levels. Let's go on to the daily chart again and see if we can find anything interesting, right? So this is our weekly chart. It's still recovering. It's not really bullish for me for now, but yes, so just keep this in mind. So if for it to be really bullish, it has to break the 430 levels and hold above it. So if you are not in it, wait for it, wait for the price action to see what is going to happen at 420 levels. If it can really break it and hold above it, yes, then go long, or else you will get a very sweet entry at 392 levels. So if you want to do a scalp, then you're almost welcome to do a scalp between 400 to 420 levels. Let's move on. So there are a few interesting candidates which has ER coming up in financials, for example GS, right? So Goldman Sachs is one thing which we can see ER coming up on 1014. So we can see a bit of action with GS. So if you want to play GS for ER, so usually I don't recommend anyone to hold it through through ER. I would recommend anyone, if you are playing for ER, sell it before ER, and you will have a lot of opportunities to get into the play after ER as well. So don't ever hold through ER. So we have a lot of examples where we have held through here and we have burnt our hands, and there are some cases like Zoom, which we held through ER and we had very huge gains. So if you're looking for something to hold through ER, just take one option, say one contract, don't be very greedy and burn your hands, right? So that's my suggestion for ER. But anyway, let's take a look at Goldman Sachs chart and see what's happening with it. I don't see anything good with GS for now. Let's see if we can. Nope. Let's take weekly chart and see if we can find something interesting. All I can see is just a consolidation, right? So GS has been consolidating between these levels for more than a lot of weeks actually, to be very frank. So let's see if we can find something in the shorter time frame, right? No, I don't see anything, to be very frank. So only thing whatever I can see, right? So let's go ahead and take it as 90 days. So only thing whatever I can see which is good is GS had a downtrend, and we can see it found some good support levels here, right? So I would have been very happy if the price would have taken this up, but I don't think it did. But it started bouncing from these levels, right? So let's make it as support 1. So 185 is the support for it, where we can clearly see a bounce from here. And let's see. So this is still in the downtrend, as we can see, right? So we have this wedge or the resistance for it. So whatever I can see here is it's trying to come out of the resistance, and if we find it going up, means say break and hold above these levels, right? I can say 195 levels. So we can just start with a few contracts for ER, right? So why I am taking this, even though it's not really bullish, right? For now we can see it as trying to break the downtrend and trying to go as a bullish trend, right? So these are the levels which I really don't want to take until unless I have a confirmation. But why I'm interested in this stock is because of the ER which is coming up. And yeah, so what I suggest is on a 4-hour chart we can see it is trying to break the resistance and go bullish. So if it really goes bullish, what we can expect is it's going to take these levels. So if you see here, right, so this is the intermediary level or intermediary resistance what I can think of. So let's draw a, so 200 or 200 is a level which we have to take care of. So the thing is like it's very simple. I am going to say GS is very interesting candidate for upcoming ER, and it is trying to break the bearish trend. So we can really take some contracts or the started contracts for GS and see if we can if it can break this resistance, go above 197. So if it goes above 197, I will add more contracts to it and sell at our resistance of 200, right? That's what our intermediary resistance. And I would hold only one contract until ER and sell it before ER. So just to make sure that I am not going to miss any price action between 200 to 205. So this is the next resistance which comes up to 204 to 205. So that is what my price target is. So let's see how GS does. So that's the plan for it. So plan for GS is if it manages to break these levels, which is 195, and goes and it stays above 195, let's add some contracts. And if it can break above 197, add few more contracts, and target will be 200. That's our plan. Okay, so stick to it and don't even try to add a lot of contracts now itself and burn your hands. And yes, I would take 192 as the stop loss. So why 192, right? So you can see here, this is the I mean, it's a level where we can see a lot of price action, right? See 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we can see, we can just take the lowest bar, which is in this swing. This is the lowest bar, right? So this will be my stop loss, which is 192. Moving on, let's see if we have any stocks like Amazon and see where it holds. Yep. So Amazon, this is the plan which we had, right? So we had a plan of let's go to 1 hour chart. So rally, base rally, this was our demand zone, and we saw a lot of price action here, and this is where we wanted Amazon to be. And Amazon gave us very nice entry here on the demand zone, and we can see a bullish trend or bullish push over here, right? So what I can expect from Amazon right now is it is at the resistance levels. So this is the levels where we can see a lot of declines or a lot of movement back up. See, we see a decline here, and we see a decline here, and we see a movement back up here, and movement back up here. So what I'm trying to say is this is our price levels where it has to break and stand above it. So if we can see a break of 3095 and hold above, can say next level to reach is 3196, sorry, 3169. So 3169 is the level where we can see it touches this level and takes a direction. If it breaks this level, we can see it going up above and retest of 3321. If it again fails to break this level, we can see a dip towards the demand zone again and then take a stance. So for now, I am bullish on Amazon, and this is my first target. I can keep this as the first target. So Amazon, as we discussed, this is the price levels which we had, the demand zone. We saw a dip to the demand zone and going back up, and first target for us is 3197. So 3197 is the target which will be taken out. So for it to be really bullish, it has to break these levels and then hold above these levels. So it has to retest 3197, break 3197, hold between these levels, and then we can see it crossing above 3321 and taking out 3479 again. So break, consolidate, and then break towards this. If it cannot break these levels, we can see a dip towards the demand zone again. So be very careful with this stock. Let's see how Apple is doing, right? So for Apple, we had these levels as the support levels. So we can clearly see it gave us a dip towards the support level, and then it is starting to break the resistance and even the downtrend. So Apple clearly is an uptrend. I don't want to short Apple anytime soon. So what we can expect is we can see a target hit. That means it will hit 116 levels. That is my first target. Let us give it a nice. So this was our plan for Apple. So it was taking a downtrend. We had this demand zone, the weekly demand zone, right? So if I just go to the week, so this was our weekly demand zone, our weekly support zone, which we had. On a daily chart, we can clearly see it did give us a dip towards the demand zone or the support zone, and it started bouncing back. It broke the downtrend and held above it, and then it is going back again to retest 116. So Apple, we saw a really nice action at the end of the close, at the close on Friday. We saw a lot of 120 calls being taken for November. So that is one thing to keep in mind. So so there are two things to keep in mind for Apple. We have the announcement which is coming up, the new series of Apple's iPhones and even the iPads. So that is one thing which is expected. And the next thing is Apple has an ER coming up, right? So 1029 is the ER. So we can see some really nice price action on Apple, and we can see it taking our first target. And if it manages to take out the first target, we can see it taking 120 as well. So these are the next levels to watch out for. So but for now I don't want to talk about it. So for now it's very simple. This week we can see Apple going to 116 levels, trying to break it and getting rejected for some time, right? Because it is breaking the downtrend now. So for it to be very bullish, it has to see a consolidation. So I don't see any consolidation between these two price levels for now. So whatever I can see is it's going to take a three white soldiers or whatever you call it, right? So that is what we can see on Apple, and we can see a retest of 116, and we can see it dip down to 112 or 1110 levels. So that's where we are going to add few more contracts. We are already having a call for November, and now we are going to add few more when it gives us a nice dip, right? So we can sell few contracts on 116, means a retest. Sorry, yeah. Let's go to the lower time frame. Let's get 2 hours chart. Okay. So yes, so if you see the 2 hours chart, it's the same thing again. It broke the downtrend, and now it's going bullish. So it will retest 116 levels and see a nice dip to 112 levels or 1110 levels. That's where we are going to add more. So two things to this is the plan for Apple, right? So we are we already have the November calls, so we are going to add few more calls for day trades, and 116 is our target. So once it reaches 116, we are going to see how it reacts to the resistance levels. So if it is able to break 116 and consolidate, we are going to see 120 levels. If it cannot break it, we will see a dip towards 112 and 1110. That will be our buy point again, where we are going to add few more contracts and let it run to 120. So that's a clear plan for Apple. Moving on, I wanted to talk about a very good stock, INTC, right? Intel. So Intel had a dip, whatever we require, and then it started to move back. So let me just remove these the old drawings, whatever I have, and start with a new one. So let's take a weekly chart first to see how it is going up, right? So on a weekly chart, we can clearly see it's going towards a bear flag. So it tried to break the downtrend. So this is the first attempt from Intel. It tried to break this level, break the bear flag, but it was not able to break the bear flag, and we saw a dip towards the support levels again. So this was the very clear support, whatever we had, 48. So it dipped towards the 48 levels, and now again we are seeing a good bounce back, right? So if I just remove that, the old attempt, so the new attempt, whatever we have here, is these levels. So Intel is trying to create a bullish trend, and it is trying to break the bear flag. So why am I saying that it's going to, it's trying to break the bear flag, right? So as we saw earlier, this was the first attempt which it made, and it was not able to break the resistance. We saw a dip towards the support levels of 48, and now again it is retrying to break the bearish trend and the bear flag, whatever we have. So what we can do is, let's plan the trade, right? So this is the nice ascending wedge, whatever we have here. So it attempted to break it and failed, saw the support levels again and going back again. So what we can do for INTC is very simple. On the open today, as the index is green, we can get some contracts of November because we have ER coming up in October, which is 10/22. So let's go ahead and take some November contracts, which is the long contract for ER, and let's see how the price action goes, right? So whatever I am assuming is the RSI is trending up and RSI is holding real well, and even the MACD, right? So MACD is curling up, and we have ER coming up. So if everything goes according to the plan, what we can see is it's going to consolidate a bit and see a breakout and fill this gap. This is a huge gap to fill, right? So we have a huge gap to fill for Intel. So this is the plan. So Intel, we are going to get some options and see how it consolidates and a breakout and retest this levels, which is 57 before ER. That's our plan. So let's hold it till ER, the November contracts, and if we cannot see a breakout above these levels, then we can sell and hold only one for the ER. Let's go and check the lower time frame. Yep. So even in the lower time frame, we can see that this channel, so this channel we didn't draw it on the lower level, right? Means at lower time frame, right? We added a trend line or a channel based on the weekly trend, and you can clearly see how it is holding even in the lower time frames. So this is how we should be doing, right? Like we should not draw a trend line based on the lower time frame, because this is just a consolidation or the price levels are acting very weird. We can see it clearly tried to break above and rejected back again at the gap levels. So that's the reason we should never draw a trend line or even the support levels on the lower time frame. If you are trying to go long, go with the weekly chart, draw the trend lines or even the support levels, see how well it is honoring that in a daily chart. If it is honoring on the daily chart, go with the lower time frame, see how it is acting. If it is acting real well, then you can plan the trade. So don't plan the trade based on the lower time frames. So that we saw the plan for INTC. So let me just pull up some more things which I wanted to interrupt, right? So I wanted to talk about another interesting ticker. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it for today. So the only thing whatever I wanted to talk more about was Costco. So I just wanted to tell something about Costco, right? If you if you are following Costco for a long time, you can see very clearly on any of the news whatever we have for Costco, we will certainly see a sell-off. Any year, any news, any sales number, Costco has never ever seen a push on the news. So what we can see on Costco is on all the years we can see a dip and then buy, dip and then buy. So the same thing happened this time as well. We can see Costco had pretty nice sales numbers, pretty nice EPS and the fundamentals as well, right? So everything was great about Costco. Even then, the Costco fell down to the support levels. So let's go to the weekly chart and see why I am saying that as a support level, right? So you can see Costco had very nice consolidation between these levels, and that is where we had the support levels, right? Like we can take it as a support level. Costco on a very good year saw a dip and then people are buying back. It's the same old story for Costco. So Costco is really bullish for me, and I have number contracts, and I added few more contracts on the dip based on this demand zone or even the consolidation zone. And what I can clearly see is Costco saw a dip here. Let's take the lower swing and go back to the daily chart. So this is what I can see for Costco for now. So it saw a dip to the support levels, going back again. So on ER we saw a dip again, but it is being bought back. Costco is being bought back, and it's going to see a I mean, say it is for now seeing a huge bull trend. So what we can expect is, we can expect Costco to retest the resistance level here, where the most of the price action has been. So we can see Costco say taking out 135 levels and consolidate before it breaks, and reaching retesting 354 levels. So this is the clear plan for Costco for me. So what I'm trying to do is, I already have November contracts which I bought on the dip, and I am going to hold them and see how it reacts to 345 levels. 345 levels are our resistance levels. If it is going to clearly break those levels, I'm going to add few more contracts, and 354 is my target. Let's see. Before I close out, I just want to see how ES is holding our levels, or what is happening with ES futures, right? Yep. So it's very clear that ES is, or the futures are really bullish for now. So ES is trying to break 3315 levels. So if it breaks and holds 3315 levels, I can clearly see that the markets are in bullish trend for this week. So this week we have the preliminary debate which is going to be there on 24th. So be careful about that. But even then, we can see the markets are taken the bullish, means the bulls have taken the control over it, and markets are clearly in a bullish trend. So let's scalp calls for now and see how it behaves after breaking the 3315 levels. That's it for today, guys. Thank you. And if you have any questions or anything you want me to chart, or you want me to do analysis on, please post it on my YouTube channel, or even you can post it on my Twitter channel as well. So I will try to find some time and give analysis on the charts, whichever you need. Yep. Have a nice week ahead, guys. Good luck and all the very best.